For 2.3, so chapter 2, section 3, proportional reasoning. Um, Proportional reasoning is if-then relationships. So a relationship that says that two ratios or two rates are equal. So this will usually be, or it's easiest to show as a fraction. So if 2 over 3 equals 6 over 9, we know this is true because both are divisible by 3. So when you times 3 to 2, it equals 6. When you times 3 to 3, it equals 9. 2 kilometers per hour equals 6 kilometers. 2 kilometers per 3 hours equals 6 kilometers over 9 hours. So hopefully that makes sense. There are two ways to figure out or to solve a rate problem using proportional reasoning. The first one is to use a unit rate. So if you use a unit rate, you get the unit down to a single unit. 11.58 cents, 11.58 cents is the price for 2 kilowatts per hour. So how much does 30 kilowatts cost? Start again. So there are two ways to solve a rate problem using proportional reasoning. The first one is to start again. So there are two ways to solve a rate problem using proportional reasoning. The first one is to get it down to a unit rate. So this is method one, to use a unit rate. So if electricity costs 11.58 cents for 2 kilowatts, how much does it take for 30 kilowatt hours? How much does that cost? Give your answer to the nearest cent. So we can find out to get it down to the next unit rate, which is 1 unit. 11.58 over 2 kilowatt hours divided by 2 equals 5.79. So 11.58 divided by 2 is 5.79. If we know that it's 5.79 cents for 1 hour or 1 kilowatt hour, how much does 30? So we just times it by 30, and that equals 1.73.37, which is shown down here. So when we do that, it's 174 cents or $1.74, rounded to the nearest cent. The other way, which some of you may find easier for some problems, and some problems it's easier to find the unit rate. This is method 2, using proportional reasoning. So if you know that 2 kilowatt equals 30 kilowatts because you match the units, so both units are on the bottom, so what would be up here? This would be cents. So we just know that 2 into 30 equals 15. So we times 15, 2 by 15 to get 30. So whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 11.58 times 15 equals 173.7 cents, which is about 174 cents, or $1.74. So there are two ways to do this. Both work, and sometimes one is easier than the other, and the other is easier than the other. Example 2. So a wildlife biologist wants to know how many trout are in a slough in Saskatchewan. He captures and tags 24 trouts and releases back into the slough. 2 weeks later, he returns and captures 30 trout and finds that 5 of them are tagged. He uses the following ratios to estimate the number of fish in the slough. Fish recaptured with tags over total fish recaptured, and then fish caught and tagged over total fish in slough. How many trout does he estimate are in the slough? So we know this. Fish recaptured with tags were 5. So we're going to put 5 right here. 5 over total fish recaptured. Not captured, total, but total recaptured, which would be 30. So 5 over 30 equals, on the top, fish caught and tagged in the very first time with tags. So total fish caught and tagged is 24. So we write 24 there. This is your big unknown, the question mark right there. So we're going to use the proportional reasoning the very first time. So get it down. 5 over 30 equals 1 over 6. So we show that right here. If 1 over 6 equals 24 over t, then how do you get 1 to 24? You times it by 24. So the bottom you have to times to 24 as well, because whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. And whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So 6 times 20, now we have 6 times 24, which is equal to 144. So the estimate is that there are 144 trout in the slough. The other way to do it is 5 to 24 is what? Times what equals 24? So we find this out by dividing 24 divided by 5 equals 4.8. Whatever we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. 30 times 4.8 equals 144, which is the same answer we got before. Hopefully this makes sense. If not, we'll recover it in class. This is the Show Your Knowledge on page 66, which will be due before we give you the next homework. How much will a dozen erasers cost if 3 erasers cost 75 cents? Show how to find the answers in more than one way. So you have to use both reasoning, unit rate and proportional reasoning, to find the answer. Show us both ways.